What a hassle. This pizza website wants our password, coupon code, and credit card number. That's it. We're going off the grid.
We could have just picked up a hot and ready pizza at Little Caesars.
That's it. We're going back on the grid.
You done fucked it up!
Little Caesars Pizza Show.
Pizza, pizza.
Chala, hey chala. Shut the hell up! Chala!
Who is responsible for this? I demand that you show yourself. Who are you?
So, I just watched Pixels. It's a fucking piece of dog shit! Look, fellow voices, deep down, I knew this was gonna be a turd, but this slot was reserved for a Smash Brothers review. But then I saw this cancer to intelligent storytelling and was reminded of why the boss pretty much lost face in the Mouse House. Now don't worry, our love for Nintendo is still intact. It'll take a lot more than a one-sided Wii U absence to stop that passion cold. And besides, it's just our views on Disney taking different paths based on the company's recent mistakes that I'm sure we'll get on the next time we talk about video games on this show. But all I'm saying here is that Ant-Man is out. Just go see that instead of Pixels. It's clever, it's fun, it's got more bang for your buck than what you'd get from Sony's factory-made set-piece shit flicks that they'll crank out yet again 4 months later when Halloween calls for Goosebumps reruns. The acknowledgements of the games inserted, not jokes, acknowledgements, fall flat like they usually do, and Adam Sandler sucked ass as he usually had been doing these past few years. The conflict's all over the place in terms of the alliance of the aliens who saw the 80s time capsule MacGuffin as an act of war or something. I don't know, it's an excuse to flail 3D pixel art around like your father's car keys for 90 minutes. And to make matters worse, this was ripped from a 5-minute short we'll have to toss into our next channel surfing episode for compensation for having to be associated with Sony's desperate quest for a new franchise now that Spider-Man's back with Disney. And the fact that, again, Adam Sandler is the main character. Let's be clear here. Adam Sandler was never really that good of an actor. You've seen one Sandler fic, you've seen them all. The retarded man-child with a heart of gold goes through a story arc where he somehow comes out on top despite being a retarded man-child, because that's all Adam can play. A retarded man-child. Because that's exactly what he is! A retarded man-child! To be fair, he can do other roles than the man-child stereotype. I mean, hell, just look at Jack Sadelstein, as disgrossing as his sister might be. But it depends on the writer's puppeteering his character. And in terms of acting out material pre-scripted by good writers, he's as good as you remember him from his classic hits. Give him a typewriter and he's a Super Saiyan Dan Schneider, only capable of cranking out cult hits at best. And another thing, I'm not necessarily a fan of Game of Thrones since pretty much the entire population of Westeros is pretty much destined to die in rotten hell. And just by appearing in this movie, Peter Dinklage has just dropped Tyrion 7 circles, and he was in the 8th circle before this movie got greenlit. And it gets even worse. See, the only remotely decent subplots in this movie are with the alien mistress who sweeps one of the dudes off his feet because the mistress is a vid spawn mimic of some made-up character from a made-up video game, and Cubert being a comic relief trophy of their winning streak. That's it! And even then they done fucked it up. See, when the alien race's collection of Vidspawn turn tail, the game ditches the Dirt Bowl too. Spoiler, fuck you. Because they're only allowed to keep the trophy, so Vidspawn Cubert, as the only good character in the shittiest movie of the year, sacrifices its form for a duplicate of the Dame to provide a happy ending for no reason other than a happy ending. That's literally this whole fucking movie. Corporate cockdicks trying to keep their company afloat by smacking you in the head with random Atari ports of arcade classics in an attempt to remind you that those games exist. As the executives shout out, "Do you want to join the army? Huh? Do you want to join the army, Alex?" No, Olimar, I do not want to join the army. I do not want to be drafted by Republican warhawks, and I do not want to be blown to bits by Iranian mokes over mortal oil. Fuck this movie! In fact, I'm glad Iwata's bile duct growth kept him from coming. Because if he lived long enough to see how he and the entire Japanese game development industry was ridiculed through one of the minor characters...
Pac-Man's a bad guy?
Pac-Man is not bad. I created him to bring joy to all the people of the world. They have brainwashed him. You'll see.
What are you doing?
I will talk to him. He's my son. Hello. My sweet little boy. Look how big you've grown.
Somebody annihilate this stupid thing!
He would have sued Sony for cultural vandalism, copyright violations, and overall heartless style over substance storytelling. Alright. Getting a little too loud. Gotta get some feng shui up here. Peace, quiet, tranquility. Peace, quiet, tranquility. Ah, there we go. And the saddest thing is, there are germs of good ideas starved for oxygen by corporate executives paying apathetic filmmakers to mock as much of the arcade classics as possible. And it's far from the first time they fucked over the video game industry. Believe it or not, traditionally animated cutscenes were to be included in the original Crash Bandicoot game. Sony scrapped this because they wanted everything to use 3D graphics. So, the modern animated film industry. Oh! Maybe one day those ideas will conjugate into a much better movie, much like the few of the ideas that crossed into Inside Out from Osmosis Jones. But that's obviously going to be up to more than a decade from now. And that bums me right the fuck out. Needless to say, there's not much else I can add to the argument that many other popular internet critics have done before it. So there is literally nothing else I can say except go watch Ant-Man instead of this. The female lead kicks more ass than Lady Lisa here. Yes, they literally stole Lisa Simpson, aged her up, dumbed her down, and then slapped a Ninja Gaiden outfit onto her. That's literally how untalented, unoriginal, and unintelligent these creative minds truly are. Where was I? Oh yeah, talking about how Ant-Man is better than Pixels. The rest of the cast is actually tolerable, the action set pieces are focused on creativity instead of destructions, and for all intents and purposes, we simply cannot allow Sony the satisfaction of making money off anything anymore. Especially not after what they did to Spider-Man, the Smurfs, and especially the feminazis Sony dressed up as the Ghostbusters. We're truly in yet another dark age in entertainment, folks, where we repeat the worst parts of the 90s all over again. Except with more creative terrorism. But there is some good news out there in the world. See, there's this hashtag going around from CinemaSins. Better than another Hollywood remake. It's a relatively noble cause, just create a pitch for a movie without any reference to pre-existing stuff, post it on the Twitter, and you'll be set for the ship, folks. But suppose you don't have the time to actually create things. Well then, what else would you do? In fact, here are my recommendations for movies you should watch. Instead of Pixels, go see Ant-Man for original set pieces and likable characters. Instead of Pixels, go see Inside Out for original ideas and likable characters. Unless your favorite movies include the likes of Blended, avoid Pixels. Unless you've chosen to catch up with Paul Blart 2 earlier this year, avoid Pixels. Unless you want to milk a few more laps out of Tyrion before he's hopefully axed off at the end of Season 6, avoid Pixels. Hell, just avoid Pixels altogether. In fact, just avoid Sony altogether too. Just do it. Nothing good can come of Sony's tyrannical film slate, and nothing good can come with them owning PlayStation either. Just do it. Don't let your dreams of good Ghostbusters sequels be dreams. Make your dreams come true. Stay away from Sony! Ah! Shut up. Sorry, Autumn.
Evil!
I'm at Comic-Con!
Flash.
Oh, sweet Jesus, this is so not the thing I want keeping me awake. Oh well, no sense complaining about it now, I've got chores to do. Ladies and gentlemen of the mob, thanks for riding loose for Fandom Arson. Make sure to rate, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you're a conformist. Support us on Patreon if you feel so inclined, and when once more the voices of Twitch rumble, we'll meet again. And so until that time, good fight, good night, and stay frosty.
me and you and me. No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you. Happy together.
Something's gone wrong in the happy-go-lucky world of Nintendo. Introducing Super Smash Bros., where all your favorite characters go toe-to-toe in one 4-player star-studded slam fest, only on Nintendo 64.
That game isn't even canon.